Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome back to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is 3 insane new ways to blame men, plus 6 shocking incel emojis, where we're going to be looking at a couple of misandrous things on the internet again, and we hope that you will join us. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
In
let's.
in our ongoing efforts to prevent people from internalizing this crap,
Yeah.
we shall mock it thoroughly.
Yep. That sounds like what we're doing. So, before we get into that, we're going to be looking at least 2 things. I guess it depends. First, we have this article from The Times, which is acknowledging the existence of a crisis with men, the problems that men are facing, and how little support they're getting. But like, whose fault is it though? And this is the important question. Not like how do we fix it, but who do we blame? And this is important because there's one thing you can never blame, but we'll get into that when we get to the article. And if there's time, we have there's a incel emoji newsletter warning
Yep.
something going out. We're gonna
It's
look at this as well. Posted
it's
on
in
a
a school in the UK.
Yeah, in a school. Well, you got to look out for those
Incel
adolescents.
emojis, right? It's just
Yeah,
you gotta learn the signs so
yeah.
that you can intervene before your son becomes involuntarily celibate, and you need to do that young. So make sure your son is not involuntarily celibate
Yeah,
as
making
young
sure
as
he's out there crushing puss at
yeah.
14 so that
No,
he doesn't start
13. That's
hating women.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
13, yeah,
Yeah,
13.
13, that's generous. I mean, really, involved parents should be making sure their sons are doing that at 6, right? 7. Like, God, why even wait
Nothing
till he's
wrong
in
with
kindergarten?
sexualizing children, is there?
No, no.
No,
God damn.
it's human. All right, but before we get into
That
that,
is deep
you gotta
sarcasm, everyone.
you gotta
Deep,
do the
dark
things you gotta do.
sarcasm. All right.
Yeah,
If you would like to send us a message in 80 point throughout the show, please please do
do
so.
so.
Yeah, my dyslexia just really tripped me up there because I was gonna say pseudo. I'm like, no, that's not right. Something's off. Please do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. Very best way for you to send us your messages and give us a tip with those messages. And if you would like to support the show, I actually have a mini fundraiser that I'm calling Keep Allison Sane to sort of cover we've lost a bit in subscription revenue. This happens fairly often, and not often, like it just periodically. I know it's times are tough, but we still need to pay our bills. So if you would like to help us out with that gap, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/keep Allison sane. That is keep Allison sane. So it's just like a little mini fundraiser where I'm also trying to encourage people to subscribe. If you subscribe while we're doing this, I will decrease the amount we owe and or on the fundraiser in honor of your subscription. And you can do there's a link to that at the fundraiser too. So that is feedthebadger.com/keep Allison sane. I probably should just put it under support, right? Because then it would be less confusing for you guys. Anyway, there's no link in the low bar because this is the first time I've told you and the first time that Brian heard about this. So don't expect that. You'll just have to go directly there. I probably will redirect support there. So we'll just do it like feedthebadger.com/support. Are you thoroughly confused? I think I am as well. So let's
Just go to feedthebadger.com. I'm sure they can find it, right?
Yeah, you're smart people. Just go to feedthebadger.com and poke around for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I'll give you thank yous if you go and do that. Okay, let's start.
All right, and you already did the just a tip thing, right?
Yeah, I did. I did indeed.
Okay.
I did not forget that. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we're going to start with this Times article then?
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
All right, so this article is from the Times, and it is entitled, Men Are in Trouble, but Whose Fault Is It? A survey has found that the demands being placed on men by women in society has pushed them to a breaking point. Okay. I like how they say women and society. Like, what's left?
Hmm.
All right. This is
small
by
furry
Helen...
creatures from Alpha Centauri, I suspect.
Yeah. This is by Helen Rumbla. Well, then, but those creatures aren't aren't society. They're in Alpha Centauri. So there's like people here on this planet. When you say women and society, I feel like you're just trying to spread because like okay, so men are dealing with it and women are the other half of the population, right? A
Mhm.
survey has found that demands being placed on men by women and society. So who else is there besides women except men? But the demands are being placed on men. So can it be men? I think you're just trying to like spread the blame a little bit. Like you're trying to say, well, it's society. This is like a really tricky word, society. But anyway,
Yeah.
for for all the time old fretting over the battle of the sexes, the outcome no one seemed to worry about is this one. The battle is over. The
Huh?
battle of the sexes is over, guys. We can all go home. We're
Mm.
done.
It's done. It's solved.
Yeah, it's solved. We did it.
Why did we have to have a battle in the first place?
It's a good question.
Like what why was this arranged? Like who
Who was
decided
what
on this?
if it's just like one side picking on the other side, is it even a battle?
Not really.
Like,
Not really. That's this there I'm pretty sure there are words for that, but battle isn't one of them. Like, I think both sides have to start being I guess you could argue that the manosphere has gotten slightly irate. Um, but that's not the same as wholesale denying services for male victims of domestic assault and sexual assault and not allowing fathers to see their children among other things like that feels more like the actions of somebody at war as opposed to I don't like that, which is basically what the manosphere is doing. I don't like
mhm.
that. Mm. Yeah, I
Yep.
guess you're right. The battle is a bit, but again, who started the battle and why do we have to have one? Right? And
It's
I
a
hear
great
a lot of
question.
people like on Twitter when I call out feminists, they're like, both sides. Like, why do we have to have this fight? And I'm like, well, as much as I don't want to have this particular fight, I suspect you're looking at this from a perspective that men are the enemy, that men oppress women, which, it's really hard to step away from a fight once it's started by the other party. Once the other party has framed the other side as the enemy. Like we got to go back before we did that. Right? We got to go back before we did that and get rid of that. Otherwise, we're still going to be what they really want when they say is don't fight is they want one side to have won, which doesn't seem fair. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like feminists started the fight. Let me stop using euphemisms. They started the fight. They started the fight when they framed the relationship between men and women as one of enemies at war with the whole oppression narrative. All right, that's the
Yeah.
fundamental truth, and we will still be at war as long as we have feminists framing men as the enemy. And that's what that whole narrative does. Men oppress women. Well, what does that mean? It means men are the enemy. Well, if you don't want to have a battle of the sexes, you got to stop calling men the enemy. Right? By definition, because once you do that, there is the battle. There is the perceived battle, right? You get what I'm saying? It comes
Yeah.
right out of that. It's just okay. All right.
Yeah, and also, 1 second here. And also well, it's interesting how it's framed. So let's go back up here. So I just want to look at how this is being framed. I don't know if the author knows this or not. A survey has found that the demands being placed on men by women and society has pushed them to a breaking point. So we're already
Mhm.
seeing that men are in they're being pushed to a breaking point. The men, okay, because of demands being placed on them. And then it says the battle is over.
Mm.
So they're saying women won. But I want to know, I haven't finished this. I did read some of this article. I want to know how they're going to be able to pull victimhood from the jaws of victory when they've
Oh, you
already in the
don't know.
first sentence they have already called victory, right? In a way, it's and that, but on top of that, it's like uh the battle is over, but there's no jubilation because the men have retreated. Back each sex went to their respective trenches to live a life alone and without love. So now, um, now men have retreated, and both parties have returned to their respective trenches. Isn't that interesting?
And why did this have to begin? Like, why was this necessary? And I know why. It's because
Hmm.
in the 19, well, even before, like the Declaration of Sentiments, but building off of that particular sentiment, in the 1960s, feminists decided to colonize the entire concept of the relationship between the sexes and make it whatever, or define it in such a way that it benefited feminism. So now we're in the midst of this wretched war, right? That apparently women have won. Well, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Women have won the war. But you're right. They're no doubt groping towards finding some way of once again labeling women victims of the war against the sexes, which feminism started. Or
Yep.
proto-feminist started with the Declaration of Sentiments. Okay, let's
All right. So, a new study that surveyed 2,000 British men and women aged 18 to 45 revealed that men are at an unprecedented crisis point. They have rejected old ideas about masculinity. They desperately want to care for their community and aspire to be tender, involved fathers. Yet they despair of being able to fit into the seemingly contradictory demands made of them by their female romantic partners and society at large, with nearly half considering giving up on love entirely.
okay.
So, yeah, go ahead. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead. I think I do.
Men routinely lose access to custody of their children. They routinely lose a significant portion of their assets in divorce. And this is what we decided to do. And now we're saying, well, they seem to be having an issue. Well, yes, because you did this to them. Like, this was feminist jurisprudence. And it was put in place because feminists insisted that the marriage was a horrible battlefield for women, and they needed to have an escape, and there couldn't be any kind of fairness in divorce, equitability in divorce. It had to go all to the woman, because otherwise she might be dissuaded from leaving the battlefield, in which she was always the one who was most abused and battered and taken advantage of, right? And so you did that. You created a system that's highly slanted towards women in divorce in order to, under the guidance of feminist policy. And now you're saying that men seem to be behaving like they're going through a very slanted system that is intended to destroy them. Well,
Hmm.
yes, that's what you did. Congratulations. You have won. You're successful, right? Like this was successful. This was a successful intervention into family law. In terms of we are going to create a system that's highly slanted towards women, that destroys men routinely, removes them from their children's lives, takes away their assets under the logic that their wife is owed half their assets, but for some reason he isn't owed half the time with the children. But regardless, like you created the system. It's destroying men. Like literally, they're like, let's build the destroy men system. Oh my, it's destroying men. Huh? Where did that come from? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So here's what I noticed in this paragraph. They have rejected old ideas about masculinity. Then immediately followed by, they desperately want to care for their community and aspire to be tender, involved fathers. So are these things opposite in the mind of the person who wrote this? Because that what you're saying is that men are trying to square a circle that can't be squared because they desperately want to care for their community and aspire to be tender, involved fathers, which is what this is not a new phenomenon. Men have always wanted to be, by and large, caring fathers and involved with their family and be a pillar of their community, or be like looked up to in some way, live an aspirational life, right? That's not a new idea, but there's also old ideas about masculinity that they have to reject. But they're not actually doing that because they still want to do things that are considered masculine, caring for their community and being involved fathers. So these are the author is presenting these as though they're opposites, like, oh well, they got rid of those nasty old ideas about masculinity, but now they want to be involved dads and be involved in their community and protect people and stuff. Oh, you mean like men have always done throughout
Yeah.
all of time? Like they just want to do the thing they've been doing, but you guys won't let that be because you don't like what that means. You don't like that it is masculine. Well, you don't like the idea that it is a positive trait associated with masculinity. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so it's just interesting how contradictory it is. And then they acknowledge it as contradictory by saying, yet they despair of being able to fit into the seemingly contradictory demands made of them by their female romantic partners. I'm going to ignore the at society at large because that's made up. Like there's just women. There's no society doing this. Like most men are doing what they want to do, and some men are like, struggling with it because they're trying to like please women basically, but they're just like having a hard time with it because they're trying to give them what they want but also be who they are at the same time. And then there are men who say fuck that and they just do what they want. So that's not the part of society that's feeding these guys contradictory demands. It's just women doing that. So this is the truth of it, right? Yet they despair of being able to fit into the seemingly contradictory demands made of them by their female romantic partners. That's all you need to say, which
Mm-hmm.
is true because women say one thing, like, I want this because I was told I should want this from men by like my peers and my teachers and TV and movies and, advertisements. But actually, I don't want those things. I'm whatever. I want a man who is a man. I don't want, or whatever that is, right? I want a masculine man. I don't want like a new man, NUMAN. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want Pedro Pascal, I want Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Or, young Russell Crowe or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so like so yeah, I think that's interesting. And it says with nearly half considering giving up on love entirely. Yeah, because it's too much work. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I thought about that paragraph.
Yeah. Those are some good thoughts. Let's move to the next one.
All right. This fits with a demographic shift towards men and women remaining single. The proportion of Americans aged 25 to 34 living without a spouse or a partner has doubled in 5 decades to 50% for men and 41% for women.
Hmm.
In the UK, the Office for National Statistics last month predicted a 20% rise in single households by 2032, with the steepest surge in the 35 to 44 age bracket. Then we have these stats here. 15% of men have interacted with an AI partner. 50% endorse red pill misogynistic ideology. Those numbers need to get up more.
Mm-hmm.
62% of men believe women expect too much from a relationship. Those numbers are very conservative, I'll say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's interesting, like red pill misogynistic content. Okay, operationalize that for me. Because I'm pretty sure that you put us in there.
Yeah. It just means saying women could be part of the problem. That's really the most charitable way I can put it.
Yep.
Is that there are people who say, yeah, women are part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even say the whole problem. And
Nope.
but that's still misogynistic ideology because the last thing, or they'll say feminism is the problem. And they can't have that. That cannot be. That's the thing they're caping for in this article. I guarantee it. It's not even women. It's just feminism itself. It has to be protected. It's not, we didn't do it. We just believe in equality, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know what to say. Like, yeah, these are rookie numbers. Get those numbers up.
yeah, right. You need to be more suspicious of women today, guys. The research goes some way to explaining why men are turning humans into a species of panda. More men
Yeah,
are
and then
unwilling.
why men
Huh?
are turning why men are turning uh, this is how men are suffering, guys, and this is why they are doing this. Like, that was really, did you notice that?
Yeah,
Why
men are
men?
doing
Can
this.
we go back up a bit? Like, just let's go back up. All right, okay. Let's just really summarize this. Okay, all right. So they are now blaming men for this situation. Is it possible that the men are right and the average woman no longer thinks that the average man is an acceptable partner? Right? Maybe they're right. Maybe that 62% of men believe women expect too much from a relationship. In other words, women are no longer accepting the fact that an average woman deserves an average man. Right? That's how it works. That's how it be. But now women are not accepting that because their expectations are out of this world. Like, they're ridiculous. And men are noticing that and they're saying that. But somehow the fact that men are noticing is the reason why it's happening. This is some serious 3-year-old logic. This is like what the kind of logic that you have when you know you don't understand object permanence yet. And you think that if you can't see the monster can't see you. Like, this is absurdity. Like, this is a thought that shouldn't come out of an adult's head. And yet here we are. Here we are. It has been written down. It has gone through the editorial staff at the Times, who put a check mark in their check mark column and said, yeah, this is good to go, everyone. The thought process of a 3-year-old right here.
Yep.
This is happening because men noticed it happening. If they hadn't noticed it happening, it wouldn't be happening. So it's men noticing it happening. That's the real misogyny. Okay.
Yep.
I have to
All
squish
right.
my cat.
That's all right. More men were willing, or sorry, men were unwilling to undertake the compromise or self-improvement relationships require. So they're just not willing to do the work that,
Mhm.
like, again, we already established that the landscape is an absolute disaster,
Mhm.
and that women are,
At least
they're
part of
putting
it.
out absolutely mixed signals, contradictory cultural demands are being made, and it's not by men, it's only by women. It's not even by men in society, whatever that means. And men are like, yeah, you know what, it's not worth it, it's too dangerous. And it's not, that's like not even taking into account the amount of cultural damage that Me Too has done. And they're just like, why aren't men trying to fix this? Like, like that's it. We remember when we were at the where have all the good men gone stage. Now we're at the why aren't men fixing the thing we broke. um
It's
yeah,
worked in the
so
past. When
yeah, right.
society has a problem, we just ask men to fix it.
Or
What do you
just demand
mean?
that they do and blame them for it being broken. Why'd you break
Yeah.
this? No more. Why did you let us break this?
Why did you let
Um,
us break this? Yeah,
yes.
like I said, 3-year-old logic.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Um, so when faced with the idea, quote, I would have to change too much about myself, such as my values or behaviors, to make a serious relationship work long term, quote, 40 end quote. 44% of men agreed, compared with 33% of women. A quarter of men bleakly said that they believed no one would fall in love with them. A serious relationship was too big a financial commitment, said 41% of men, significantly more than women. It comes
O
as no surprise that 15% of men have interacted with an AI or virtual partner.
okay. So the research goes some way to explaining why men are turning humans into a species of panda. That's ridiculous. Okay. So now we've basically just pivoted at men. Is anyone surprised? We're blaming men. Women's expectations in relationships are insanely high. Why? Well, obviously because of men. Men did that. And women think that men are a poor choice in a relationship partner, obviously because of men, not because of the $1 trillion media narrative that basically describes men as the worst possible option for women in their lives. No, it's because of men. Did men change that much? Really, in the last couple, they're still doing the things that keep society running. Right? There's not a heck of a lot that men are doing differently. Maybe there's more unemployment, but hell, go back to the Great Depression. There was a lot then. So what's really going on here? Well, obviously the thing that we can't say is going on, which is really astounding with that subtitle, is that women might be to blame for some of this.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to change too much about myself, such as my values or behaviors, to make a serious relationship work long term. 44% of men agreed. Maybe it's because of women's mad dash leftward.
Yeah.
Like you now, like men are noticing they now have to be an extreme leftist to even be able to be considered as relationship worthy by women. Except even if they did become an extreme leftist, they would have to actually allow things potentially like she gets to step out on him. You know, that kind of stuff. It's an
How
open
much of his
relationship.
personal life would he also be expected to give up? Because he says I would have to change too much about myself. So
Behavior.
it's not just your values, which we are kind of covering there, but also like like do I want to hang out with my friends? Can I do that? I want to I have hobbies. I want to engage in them. Whatever. Are those going to be like a problem? Like because the thing is that a lot of guys do worry that women, if they get involved with them, will kill their social life outside of a relationship, right? Not let them hang out with their friends. Women often meddle in that stuff. And it's interesting that only 33% of women are worried about that. And it's a much lower number
Mm-hmm.
because they're probably like in the, let's say, the driver's seat in terms of options. So they're like, well, he's just going to have to deal with the fact that I'm going to have my girlfriends and I'm going to go to the club and I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And most men will just be okay with it. So they're generally not concerned that, like, basically, women are not actually going to be expected to change as much as men,
Yeah.
which is why
But this,
fewer women are worried.
yeah. And doesn't that sort of say something about expectations in the relationship for men and women? Right?
Yeah.
Like, and nobody's saying the obvious. Maybe there's an issue with controlling abuse among women in order engaging in it or perpetuating it with their male partners. And men are noticing that. And also they're noticing that there's an asymmetry in the amount of like the amount of control men versus women wield over the relationship. Like
Mm-hmm.
in the UK, they just passed a law that it's no longer considered like this is like the precise opposite of shared custody. It's no longer considered to be in the best interest of the child to maximize his or her time with parents. That's no longer considered in the best interest of the child. So if men had a shot in the UK of seeing their kids after divorce, that's gone. Like it's like the exact opposite of shared custody, which has been rolled out in Kentucky and now a few more states, which is the presumption is that both parents should have equal parenting time after divorce. Now in the UK, the presumption is that it's not even a good thing if the child sees his father after divorce. That's not even something you really want to aim for. And the men in the UK are like, I feel like I'm going to have to abide by another person who gets to make all the major decisions for me in the relationship because literally they are in a relationship and the woman is unsatisfied. She leaves, she takes the kids, she gets half the stuff. There you go. She's the one who's got the eject button. And you're basically trying to have a relationship with somebody who's, got the eject button right here. It's always like, are you good enough? Is your behavior good enough? Maybe I'll hit that button. Maybe you
Yeah.
can step up, constantly. And the fact is that men are noticing this and they're saying, "Hey, I got this pressure on me, and I don't know if I like it." And then they're like, "Oh my God, they're a bunch of misogynists for noticing."
And so again, it comes at no surprise. Oh yeah, one other thing about this paragraph too. She said a quarter of men bleakly said that they believe no one would fall in love with them. And then it follows a serious relationship was too big a financial commitment, said 41% of men, significantly more than women. So they don't give you the women statistic. And do you know why men are concerned about financial commitments a lot more than women are for their part? Do you guys know why? Can you guess? Can you
Mm,
guess what it might be? Why men are more worried that they're not making enough money to enter a relationship and women are not as worried? Not even, it's actually so much less that the person who wrote this article didn't even feel the need to put down the statistic for women. Can
mm.
you guess? I'll give you guys a guess. I'll wait. But anyway.
Put it
And
in
then
the
it,
chat.
yeah. I think we know. But
I think we got an
um
inkling,
yeah.
a slight impression, a possible thought.
A thought, yeah.
A thought.
All right. Some 62% of men agreed that, quote, women have too many expectations of how men should be in relationships these days, end quote. They're not wrong. Most surprisingly, nearly half of women agreed with that one. Oh, even women are like, yeah, we do, and it's fine. um, Possibly related to this messy disconnection, almost a quarter of young men aged 18 to 35 admitted that they actively sought out pornography that depicted strangulation or other violent content. Segue much? That's a strange sidetrack or digression. So they're just possibly related. This is a stretch. Are
Mm.
you getting this?
Yeah, I'm like looking at this. I'm just like, oh, they did that, did they? So, some 62% of men agreed that women have too many expectations of how men should be in relationships these days. Most surprisingly, nearly half of women agreed with that one. Okay, so women are noticing too. Must be the internalized misogynies, possibly related to this messy disconnection. Almost a quarter of young men aged admitted they actively sought out pornography that depicted strangulation or other violent content. What does that have to do with women having
Uh,
too many expectations? Are they
yeah.
implying that the expectations that women have is not being strangled? Or I
Like,
think it
no, I
actually
think the
is being strangled.
expectations might be that they do strangle them. You know,
Yeah,
women are into that. So like it could be that women want more violent sexual like
yeah.
experiences and men are like not comfortable with that and I get it. Like it's not just
Almost
because
a
it's probably
quarter.
not a turn on, but also because like, dude, are you trying to get me killed? Are you trying to
Mm,
get me thrown in jail forever? Like what?
yeah,
So,
but
but yeah, it's weird
this
that they're trying to
they're
suggest something about
smashing these
men.
two things together.
Yeah, they're smashing things. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because they're trying to say that the values and behaviors that men have to let go of are violent. Like they're
Yeah.
really trying to paint a picture, desperately trying to paint a picture. And what was the amount of women who sought out violent content in their pornography or romance novels? Like this is a completely orphan statistic here, and it also like what? How does this relate at all to women's expectations in a relationship? Unless they're trying to say that women having high expectations is related to violence in sexuality. So men are failing to live up to women's expectations that they not be violent, or alternatively, because men aren't living up to women's expectations, they're becoming violent. Like this is just like it's just like you go and there's some punch. You're at a party and there's a punch and there's a ladle and the cups and there's a big fucking turd in there. That's what that sentence is. It's like that. No, this sentence is repulsive and it has nothing to do with men. It has to do with what these people are trying to slip into you in terms of your conclusions. All
Yep.
right, let's get past the turd in the punch bowl.
All right. Gary Barker, CEO and founder of Equimundo, is an American developmental psychologist who, after witnessing a boy murdered by another boy while sitting in their high school cafeteria in Texas, decided to spend his life working to help men to become safer, healthier, and happier. Again, a weird thing that a turd in the bowl again. He has advised the UN Okay. On male violence, and Equimundo is a nonprofit organization based in Washington that offers international research and policy ideas in this field. Lots of red flags in that sentence. This is the first time it has researched British men. What surprised him the most? Well, it was both surprising and, Barker replies, that state of lovelessness. So the world of dating apps combined with porn, combined with I can't
Okay,
be
so you're going too
interesting.
far. You're going too far. We
Oh, okay,
gotta make
okay.
commentary. Otherwise, we don't get much in the way of some decent shorts.
All right.
Okay, so what was both surprising and sad was the state of lovelessness. I didn't actually say anything about the 25% of men think they'll never be loved. Well, yeah, I'm actually surprised it's that low, considering what men are bombarded with day in and day out. Right? Like if you're constantly telling and showing men things like adolescence and destroying their prospects in relationships and destroying fairness in family courts and also destroying their ability to have redress when their partners are abusive. Well, you know what? That stuff actually isn't relevant. When they're constantly telling men that they're the worst possible option for women and that they are horrible people that are responsible for a systemic targeting of women throughout all of human history, and they're that awful, why would men think that they're like, why would you think that men would think they're lovable, that they deserve love or they can be loved? Like, why would you promote these narratives implicating men as responsible for the longest running alleged atrocity in human history and then say, well, these men don't think that they don't feel like they're lovable? Yes, because you called them oppressors for 75 years. What do you think that's going to do to someone psychologically? And then for some reason, men are once again being blamed for being called oppressors for 75 years and coming out the other end and saying, I don't think I can be loved. Like,
Mm-hmm.
delusion.
Yep.
Okay, now we
All
can
right.
move on.
The world of dating apps, combined with porn, combined with I can't be interesting to a woman until I have a high income, combined with men spending more time online and becoming socially isolated at higher rates than young women, Barker says, summarizing the survey. So this is okay. So I think we have a generation of young men who, in some ways, have atrophied relationship muscles. Listening to young men in the UK, we hear some of that struggle that leads to retreat. But I mean, like, are we going to address these issues that they say they have? You're just saying, well, they've given up, I guess. He's like, well, look, I don't make enough money for women. And I feel like I'm socially isolated than higher rates. So I'm more poorly socialized than women are. I think this is a problem. And he's like, well, I guess you guys are just like, why are you so atrophied? Why are you giving up? Why are you retreating from this? I don't know.
It's because they're recognizing the problem, but they have to immediately pivot to, we don't have to care about this problem. This is actually men's fault, therefore nobody has to care. Pack up the carrying vans, pack up all the carrying boxes. We don't have to care now. So take them back to the care factory. No need to care here. They're doing it to themselves. The men are doing it to themselves. No need to care here. Okay.
Yep. All right.
Becoming socially isolated at higher rates than women. Okay, well, can we go back to that paragraph? I'm going to go specifically into that. So 75 years, we've said that men are horrible people who have participated in the longest running atrocity ever inflicted upon humankind. Feminists' conjectures about oppression, which have never been proven, guys, never been proven true. Right? And we've said to young men, young boys and men, you need to take responsibility for rape. You need to take responsibility for domestic violence because you are the ones who use these things to uphold your privileges. You are horrible, horrible people. You are horrible, nasty, nasty ass people. And now at the end of all that, we're like, well, why are they having trouble socializing? Why do they have problems with social confidence? Why do they feel like nobody wants them? I wonder where that came from. It's like watching nematodes with no understanding of causality. They're just sort of squirming around in their slurry. Like, god damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shitting up the place and then wondering why everything smells like shit. Okay.
All right. Okay, this chimes with many of the survey's other findings. When asked about the statement, no one cares if men are okay these days, which we were just talking about, 63% of men agreed, compared with 39% of women. After the Me Too movement, men were often nervous about the new norms. Now, that's a weird segue again, with that, like, men, when asked whether or not, when asked about the statement, no one cares if men are okay, the majority of men agreed. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That sounds correct. Like that perception at least. And they're just like, well, I guess they're just nervous about the Me Too movement. I mean, that's just women getting theirs, women standing up and speaking out. I guess if you're nervous, it says more about you than it says about us. Ha ha ha. I don't know what the point of that is. We don't think there's a huge amount of men who are being falsely accused, Barker says, but fear does not work in rational ways. You want to say anything to that?
We don't think there's a huge amount of men who are being falsely accused, but fear does not work in rational ways. Okay, so men have just decided to be afraid. Irrationally, right? And you know what? For something like this, it doesn't have to happen to a lot of people for there to be a
completely rational.
Yeah,
it's completely rational.
There doesn't have to be a lot of situations where a woman destroys a man's life for no reason, for a false accusation, because women are petty. They are vindictive, just like any other human, right? And if you give women who are petty and vindictive like any other human a weapon to enact their petty vindictiveness without any oversight, they will use it. And that's what Me Too was, right? It was just increasing the scope of the harm that women were able to inflict on men. And they've been able to do that. I mean, in the freaking 17th century, I read a legal treatise about how easily it was to accuse a man of rape and how difficult it was to actually defend themselves against it. And that's actually, I've looked at the statistics from that time. If you were a peasant woman who alleged that she was sexually assaulted, you had the same odds as any woman today of getting a conviction. People don't know that. But if you were a lady, whatever man you accused of sexually assaulting might as well just have been blasted from the face of the earth by a space laser. He was gone. And that was like 200 years ago. So yeah, this has been a problem for a very big time. But now Me Too has weaponized social media and corporations and men's own careers to be used to destroy them. And it doesn't have to happen to a lot of men for there to be a significant chilling effect on men. Particularly since men are very much defined by what they do, by their careers. That's where their value is invested by our society. And women, right? That's where the value is placed. And I see that a lot. I see that a lot of snide statements that people make about men, right? That's where they put their value. So if a man loses his career because he said hi to a woman when I guess she didn't want to be said hi to by a man who was about approximately his attractiveness, well, other men are going to notice and they're going to be like, nope, that's it. Okay, I guess socialization is off the table. And then this guy is saying, oh, it's irrational fear. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Especially when you consider the benefit that men get from socializing with women at this point. Is there any? Like, have women asked themselves that? Is there any benefit that I give to men for socializing with me? Do women ask that? Do they ask themselves, is there any benefit to socializing with me in the workplace? Do men find any benefit in socializing with me in the workplace? If they don't, why would they take a risk? Like, the more you increase the power that you bring to bear against men, if you don't like anything, something bugs you, or you want their promotion or whatever else, the more they're going to say, you know what, I don't get anything from socializing with women in the first place, so why would I do it? Why would I risk my life, my livelihood, the career I've built, and the thing that defines me as worthwhile to everybody around me, to socialize with Susie in accounting, when all I'm going to get from Susie in accounting, if I don't get a false accusation or rumors spread or them cackling behind their hands at me, is some vapid bullshit about a Taylor Swift concert and astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just I'm putting it out there. Maybe you priced yourselves out of the market. And where did the whole thing that men were socially atrophied come from?
Well, in this article, or you
Yeah,
mean
like,
like
was
in
that another thing that was
it?
asked?
Yeah, it was. They don't. He doesn't answer like why they're socially, just that rather, them checking out is a product of social apathy. He's basically like assuming it's got to be anything except men are tired of women's shit. It's got anything but that, So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Oh,
We
look,
don't think
there's another article. What's the problem with young men? My descent into the manosphere. Have
that.
we
Yeah,
read that one?
that's old. That's somebody else. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think that we covered this one a while ago. It was June 4th of this year, and yeah, it was some guy who infiltrated the manosphere. I think he just went to like some Reddit posts. So watched like some interviews, some secondhand information.
Yeah.
Okay. So modern masculinity in Britain emerges from as an absurdly chaotic bundle of contradictions. First, the good news. When asked to rank 18 traits that meant being a man, the results were touchingly wholesome. The top rank in descending order for men and for women was first, being a friend, then helping those who need it, and third, providing for the family. Okay, so is that like some leap forward, or is that just what it meant to be a person for, like, I don't know, all of time? Is modernity taking credit for these top 3 answers that men are giving? Is
Yes,
feminism
feminism
taking
is,
credit for
yeah,
this? We did this. We did
yeah, of
this.
course. Of
Yeah.
course. Of course it's taking credit for that, even
We
though
fixed them.
these have been this has been the top ranked choices since time immemorial. Like,
Yeah.
this is what has actually happened, and I wonder if they'll go into this, that these aren't actually aren't considered masculine traits. This isn't really because you're saying being a man, well, then you're saying this is not being a woman, and you can't do that. You can't associate positive traits mostly or solely with masculinity and being a man that women aren't supposed to have equal access to, right? And I wonder if I'd be surprised if they don't mention that, but they might not.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Maybe. Okay.
The bottom 4.
What?
The bottom 4 is that's where we stopped, right?
Yeah, the bottom 4 ranked were being in charge, making lots of money, managing conflict with violence, and having many sexual partners, all of which rated higher for men than for women.
Yeah, but that is literally the feminist toxic masculinity, which is the only form of masculinity that they allow, because they don't associate any positive traits with masculinity the way they associate negative traits with masculinity. And I know this by inference, but also because I have asked this question for 15 years now and have never received a response. The closest they've gotten is to refer to traditional positive traits of masculinity. But then I say, do you believe that these traditional positive traits associated with masculinity are genuinely, truly associated with masculinity? Or do you think it is bias against women by people who adhere to traditional masculinity norms by saying that these are masculine traits rather than universal human goods that women not only are equally capable of doing, but even do more of. Like this is, and they never. So this, when they say toxic, that is toxic masculinity. The lower four traits, that is the masculinity that feminism associates with men and manliness, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you? I'm actually surprised it's that low, that people aren't just, saying what feminists want them to say, which is that being a man is making lots of money, being in charge, managing conflict with violence, and having many sexual partners. Surprised, because that's the last bit. That's what feminism says masculinity is.
Well, the other thing is, if women have those traits, are those considered bad traits? So if a
No, of
woman
course not.
is being in charge, making lots of money, and managing conflict with violence and having many sexual partners, I know at least 3 of those 4 when women display them are not just like not bad traits, but they're girl boss traits. Are they
Yeah,
not?
yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. All right.
Just
However, while men's
elaborating on the
um
hypocrisy.
yeah, no, well, I just want to add to it because I think it's important that they only see this as a problem when men display it. So, however, while men said the key part of their identity as men was being a good friend, they found this hard to put into practice. Some 59, I don't know if this other thing too is that I don't know if this study um has like like a multiple choice answers, so one of the answers is being a friend, or if that's literally what men said. I don't think that's what men would say, but because I don't know, friend is like that sounds a little genderless, like you're just like like we all want to be good friends, right? But
Mhm.
I don't know, it's just I wonder if that's not a multiple choice question, and that was the closest thing to being like a loving husband or something that they could pick on
Who
the list.
knows?
Yeah. Anyway, so some 59% of men agreed. I have to look out for myself. No one has my back, compared with a minority of
You
women.
see what they're doing here?
Hmm.
However, while the men said the key part of their identity as men was being a good friend, they found this hard to put into practice. Throwing shade. Like this entire article has been throwing shade and blaming men. While attempting to grapple with the concept of them having problems.
Same
Some
as it ever was.
Yeah, some 59% of men agreed. So what they're saying is that men say they're good friends, but they're terrible friends in practice.
Hmm.
I have to look out for myself. No one has my back, compared to a minority of women. All right, keep going.
All right. Um, Men were twice as likely as women to agree with, quote, men should figure out problems on their own rather than ask for help, end quote.
Well, did the women agree with that, or did the women agree with women should figure out problems on their own rather than ask for help?
Mm,
That's a little bit obscure.
yeah.
Men were twice as likely as women to grow. Yeah, because women are going to say what they think is socially appropriate.
Yep. That's
Uh,
true.
Okay, let's and the
All
other
right.
thing is that this
Mhm.
this article is self-demonstrating. Right? Like this article is it says it talks about men's issues but then reframes them as things that they need to, what is it? Figure out on their own. Like
Yeah.
so lack of self-awareness. Thy name is the times. Okay, I'm going to squish you. I'm going to squish. You're going to be squished. All right. Let's
All
go.
right. It is a contradiction. We know boys and men are crying out for that, Barker says, of close friendship, but I think we have to take it as aspirational. Again, like I think that men want to form bonds with other men and friendships, but I don't know if that's like an environment that's allowed, because whenever
Yeah.
men try to create a space of their own, you know, it
Yep.
gets essentially overturned by the cult, the
The
cult of the
sisterhood.
vagina, the sisterhood. Yeah. All right. Um, the same goes for the mixed signals men get from women. When asked whether being a parent is the most important job in the world, 80% of men agreed. more than women. Yet, when presented with the idea that men who are full time fathers are not seen as real men, a third of women agreed, not far off from the 42% of men.
Did these people understand their own results? The individuals responding to this survey may not agree that men who are full-time fathers are not real men. They may not agree with it, but they may recognize that it is a commonly seen attitude towards men. So I don't know. This seems like it's badly interpreting the results.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
All right. No, I mean, again, like being okay. I don't think these things are contradictory. You can understand that being a parent is the most important job in the world without necessarily believing that men who are full-time fathers are not seen as real men, and also agree with that because because men who try to do the full-time father thing often become less attractive in the eyes of their wife. And look, if you worked it out, then that's fine. But it's not like you can just normalize it with a statement. I don't know if you know what I'm saying, right? So they're trying to present these things as contradictions, but I don't think they are. Okay. So same went for the questions that we're trying to. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, they're not contradictions, but they're also even if the men. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Even if the men, 80% of the men agreed that being a father was important, 80% of the men could also agree that men who are full-time fathers are not seen as real men. And yet they may say they should be seen as real men, right? Because that's not like, so the way that this article is juxtaposing these two statements is absurd. And it's like, I think that this paragraph just nullifies itself into complete noise. Just move on to the next paragraph. My autistic brain cannot handle this.
Okay.
Too much
the
noise,
same
not
went
enough
for the
signal.
questions that were trying to tease out how far men agreed with so-called red
Are you
pill.
there?
Yeah, can you not hear me? Hello?
Have I dropped out?
No, I'm here.
Okay, go to the next paragraph.
Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
Allison, can you hear me? Hello? What's going on? Video packet loss indicator, green is good. Yeah, it's green. It's good. Flames. Allison, I can't hear you if you're talking.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Wow, there is a delay. Yeah, she dropped. I'm going to read the next paragraph in the meantime. Okay. So the same went for the questions that were trying to tease out how far men agreed with so-called red pill ideas about masculinity, espoused by manosphere influencers such as Andrew Tate. Here we go again. So notice what they do here is they say red pill ideology or red pill ideas, and then they mention manosphere influencers, and then they drop Andrew Tate as the name, as though he is the face of the manosphere. And I just want to, like, for the record, we've been doing this for over 10 years. Andrew Tate, we have only heard about. Yeah, I think you are. Andrew Tate only like surfaced a couple of years ago. So he's just become the face of it. And I don't even know that he's done anything lately anyway, but it doesn't matter because he is the useful sort of like, boogeyman that they like to trot out. I don't even know what the guy believes. I don't care because we've been doing this longer. We have a better understanding of what's going on. We're looking at the law and the policy and we're discussing it, calmly. I'm not flashing a Bugatti. I'm not smoking cigars. I'm not creating a character and playing it. I'm just being me. And we have been super effective. There's like making a difference in the military, making a difference in the government, making a difference in certain states on policy, having conversations. But I've like raised awareness on this stuff for a long time. But I'm not useful to them. I'm not like the face of misogyny that they want to put out there. So they just invoke Andrew Tate. They invoke him like a spell, and then it's supposed to just make people go, "Oh my God, he is so scary. I don't want to be like that." And I'm sorry, but if you fall for that, then you're easily manipulated, and that's too bad. So, um, but anyway, it's meaningless at this point because that's what they're going to do. So roughly half of men endorsed some regressive or red pill ideas, but in many cases it was women's support for these views that was the more surprising. So there were some women that were okay. So again, let's look at this. They said manosphere influencers like Andrew Tate. So they're not actually in the questions, it may not have mentioned his name. It may not have even used the terms red pill or manosphere at all. It may just have just said, like, I don't know, like traditional masculinity, or maybe like men's rights activists content, stuff like child custody, false allegations, paternity fraud, wrongful paternity, circumcision, um, domestic violence, like that's sort of like bidirectional, and countless other issues that are male issues specifically that are either ignored or underserved or whatever. And maybe that's how the questions were asked. I doubt that, but I don't think that they necessarily said Andrew Tate. Um, but if these guys responded in the affirmative for, like essentially supporting any ideas about masculinity of some kind, Allison's trying to fix her computer stuff, then if they that might count towards it, even if they weren't necessarily supporting it explicitly. So, all right. Um, let's see. So yeah, but it is interesting. So they're shocked and appalled by the fact that there are some women who also acknowledge these problems exist and that men have issues, and that feminism was not a necessarily positive thing for society. I mean, that's an understatement. I know I'm downplaying it quite a bit, but I'm trying not to make the people in the special chat blow a gasket by saying feminism was absolute cancer for everything. And it's basically put us in this position, so where we're basically losing our civilization. All right. Women and men are swimming in the same water about these ideas about manhood, Barker says. Young men will tell us women want a guy who looks a certain way and is a breadwinner. We are very aware that for men in heterosexual relationships, there are huge expectations that can be quite traditional among women, even as women are telling us we don't want to depend on a man. And it's even unfashionable in some circles to say you have a boyfriend these days. We hear young men talk about how complex and difficult that is. End quote. Again, though, a lot of women do want a guy who looks a certain way and is a breadwinner and is very traditional. And what's interesting is that feminists will tell men that they have to change their ways. They have to like disregard their toxically masculine behaviors and ways of being and so on, and that they have to like adopt a new kind of masculinity that's more social, i.e., become a socialist man, because that's really what it is about. And yet they won't ever tell women that they have to accept that because they know they can't. And I've been saying this since I started doing this, is that if you really want to if feminists really want to change like gender roles and dating expectations and all that, they also have to tell women what they have to want as well. And the truth is they won't do that because women are not going to change their preferences generally. And so that this is a double bind that they're in. So um all right. Let me see what you guys are saying really quick while I'm waiting for Allison, because I don't want to read too much into this while she's like fixing her computer. We're just doing some like spur of the moment computer repair now. So I was wondering about this because my stream seems really stable now, but when she was on, it was like I was getting CPU overload and stuff. And hold on, I'm sorry. Allison's saying there's something wrong with her computer, or she thinks that there is. All right. So let's see what you guys are saying. Murder of Crows says every male space that's ever existed has been smashed decades ago. There's nothing left, not even a peaceful men's only tavern to suck back a cheap beer. Yes, they can't. They don't let them. They can't. They won't let them have their own spaces. They don't trust men with other men. That I mean, like, and I think that it's been a like it's been problematized like socially so that women think that when men get together and talk to each other like bad things happen, so they feel the need to meddle, and they also are very like let's say insecure about men hanging out with other men. um so yeah, they tend to break it up. So let's see. Merlin, you guys are having a conversation there. I don't know what that's about. Let's just look in the main chat here. I've been Allison says, I think waiting until the computer restarts will be quicker potentially. Either way, continue. Yeah, I am continuing. Allowing men to talk to each other would lead them to start noticing too much. Yeah, that's true. Tate is a turd, a poo stain on the underpants of the manosphere. Well, I mean, you can say whatever you want about him. It doesn't change the fact that he's out there and he's popular. So I don't really see the utility in calling him a piece of shit unless you just want me to signal that I'm not on like on his side or something. But I hate doing that. I'm not going to do that. Like he's out there, he's doing his thing. So it like honestly, if we had our shit together and men and women were like getting married and they were having kids and there weren't all these problems with single motherhood and homelessness and mental health issues and like children being abused and boys getting their penises sliced up for circumcision and all these other things, then Andrew Tate wouldn't exist because there'd be no demand for a guy like that. So he only exists because things have gotten this bad. And if things get worse, somebody worse than him is going to come along. And I don't really want to waste my energy saying, well, I'm not with that guy. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it because y'all, not you guys watching, but the people at home or the people in the media and the part of the cathedral that put out these threat narratives about men and women are the reason why he exists. So you get what you fucking deserve. And this is why we are in the position we're in. And I don't feel a damn thing about that. No shame. So I'm not going to condemn anybody. Do what you got to do. What I want is the truth. And I'm willing to let anyone who wants to have a conversation to get there. And if you don't like that, well, I guess just suck it up, buttercup. So, all right. Tangle Hierarchy is in the special chat being very special. He's like completely obsessed. Computer appears dead, Allison says. Oh my God. Is Jonathan there or are you just like being a woman on this thing? It'll take me 10 minutes to walk home. Okay, go. All right. Let's see. And then you wonder why feminism is a thing. Well, it was a thing so that rich, entitled, elite women could like redirect funds from common people to themselves, ultimately. So, congratulations, you're with the establishment. That's really what it is. I'm on your side, Brian. I know who you are, Peter Houston. Konoko says women have the power to destroy men's reputations with mere words. Once your reputation is shattered, it's very difficult to recover and never back to where you were before you were sabotaged by a bad woman. Fatty doesn't engage, just insults. What do you mean insults? Do you know your wife in real life? Yeah, she lives with me. Like what? Do you want me to prove it? You want me to prove I have a wife? That's so silly. How old are you? 10? Like it's not even relevant. How about this? I make arguments and then you give me arguments that counter those arguments based in facts and logic, and then we'll go forward from there, okay? You're 11. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to ignore you. You shouldn't be watching this. This is not for kids. This is like hard stuff to digest. You could just regurgitate feminist talking points if you want to, but you don't even know what they mean. So, all right. Anyway, let's see. Women and men are swimming in the same. Okay, so yeah, So women are asking for these things too because they do ultimately want a more traditional man. That's what they want, and but they're getting mixed messages because they're told they're not supposed to want that, even though that's what they want, and that comes out in the media they consume and in the things that they respond to, the things that they ask for and expect. So like they're expecting traditionalism. Feminism is telling men that they're not allowed to be traditional, and that's creating the conflict because feminists will never tell women that that's not what they should want unless those women go against feminism and they criticize it in some way, like Kirsten Dunst did. So, all right. Sure, many men have had views that align with the more hard right online influencers, which was perhaps informed by the greater time they spent online, on average, a couple more hours a day compared with women. A third of men, compared with a quarter of women, said their online social life was more rewarding than real life. A third of men compared with a quarter of women. Yeah, well, I guess they're not like I said, like, and it's another thing too is that if they're younger, you have to consider that we were all told to stay in our homes for about a year or two, depending on what part of the world you were in. And it may have had an effect on people's ability to develop their social skills during that time. If you were really young, right? So we're talking about kids that were in school that had to stay indoors for like a year or two, and then they come out and they're older and maybe even post-pubescent, and they're like, how do you even navigate, and everyone's on social media and stuff, so it's more difficult. And again, this is I say this with a lot of sympathy. I couldn't imagine what that would be like. I feel blessed to have been grown up in a time before the internet. So I had to actually go outside, touch grass, right? So um let me see. Allison's walking home, so she's gonna be jumping on in a little while. But Murder of Crows says at this point, some suspect the women ultimately desire a comatose corpse of a man with an erect fecundity phallus with a magic infinity wallet attached. I don't. I mean, look. I don't think women really want that. I think they do. Like most of them do want a man, but they're just being sold uh, a bunch of lies about men. And if anything, the supposed gender war is something that feminists perpetrated like over 100 years ago. And the truth is, a lot of people talk about traditional men or conservatives or whatever, but there are no conservatives. That like they don't exist. They don't. There's just feminists of today, and then there's feminists of 10 years ago, and then there's feminists 15 years ago. And if you really want to look at something from a conservative perspective, you have to go like pre-Victorian era. That's the only way. And there aren't many of those, which is why there is a class of conservative, I guess. They call themselves paleo conservatives. But even a lot of those guys and gals are pretty like feminist in their own way. Um, I think that there is a relationship between feminism and gynocentrism that it benefits, like a symbiotic relationship that is beneficial to itself. It's self-serving, which is why we have, well, like I said, like we have people who are feminists of today and feminists of yesterday, but they're all feminists. Like there are no, like, I mean, if you really want to get like truthful about it, there hasn't been anything truly conservative since the fucking Enlightenment. So like what but I'm willing to give that we can look back at least as far as, like the Victorian age. But I think anything after Mary Wollstonecraft is basically cooked. So we're like living in definitely a post-feminist time. Um, but anyway, Sherlock Holmes is popular. Merlin says, we started and funded the women's movement so we could tax both sexes. That way we could put women to work and take their children to control. David Rockefeller. Yeah, but it's older than Rockefellers. It's older than the Rothschilds. It's older than it's like I said, it was like well, I mean, there's probably something that looked like it during the time of Rome, but I'm guessing that that I think that the reason why I bring it up is I see a lot of people talking about like the right and that how they're just as bad or worse or whatever. The truth is, like I said, it's when we describe the blue pill world, we're talking about a world in which a form of feminism is normal, and people wouldn't even call it that. They would call it just like, the world. They wouldn't even give it a name. They wouldn't say it's feminist. They would just say it's the normal world. But it is ultimately a product of a liberal world order that has existed for like centuries probably, and we're in that, and we're embedded in that, and there's no real escaping that, right? um so like there's no point in the distinctions because that's the world we live in. But anyway, gynocentrism's roots are largely born from mistakes by conservative. It's an elitist thing. It comes from the elite. Like it's an elitist perspective on courtship and romance, and it's a twisted version of chivalry. Chivalry's real and it's a good thing. It's like honor and stuff, but it's not necessarily meant to be what it is today. And it was created by people who had too much time on their hands because they lived a good life and they wanted to normalize it everywhere. And it just doesn't work. I mean, it shouldn't have worked for them. And it's not working. Sometimes things don't break over like right away, they take time. So, all right. Anyway, Allison should be on in a little while. I'll try to read a little bit more of this, but I'll just keep an eye out in the meantime. So, all right. Men, 68% of them, were more likely than women, 45% of them, to agree that they could have their reputations destroyed just for speaking their minds. Okay, yeah. Well, I think women are generally a little bit safer from cancellation. This is now this is about cancel culture, not necessarily Me Too, because the statement is that they agree that they could have their reputations destroyed just for speaking their minds. So women are a bit naive if they think that they're immune, because I don't think they are. But it certainly can happen to them. They're not immune. They're more resilient, I suppose, because they're women. There's like generally like more consideration for them, a little bit more charity to what they say. But I don't think it's true. Look at what happened to Sydney Sweeney. She did a commercial for jeans and everybody wanted to destroy her life. Now they didn't succeed because it was just like flailing online and stuff. But they're still trying to destroy her life. And all she did was an ad. But I think men would definitely like have more to deal with. Let's look at Aziz Ansari, who just went on an awkward date with a girl, and he has basically disappeared from public life, it seems. Anyway, also, men have it harder than women when it comes to new opportunities and are more likely to support getting rid of diversity hiring programs. Yes, because it excludes them, because it's not inclusive, it's exclusive. Men know that DEI programs are not for men, even men of, like, say, minority group status, like black men, brown men, whatever. Even those guys are not considered when there is a woman applying. So they're interested in meritocracy. Ultimately, they're more interested in that. In this context, men's strong opinion that people take jokes about typical men and women stereotypes too seriously these days is unsurprising. Well, they do, but I don't think men care about jokes about men, because there's all kinds of jokes about men. It's actually normalized. Like the whole 2024 Kamala Harris presidential campaign was based on stereotypes about men, and so was the attempt at Bud Light to course correct after that disastrous campaign with Dylan Mulvaney, where they tried to say, "Oh, well, this is a beer for men. Let's bring men back," and they put like guys barbecuing beer bellies and stuff, and they thought that would work, but it was so like cartoonishly on the nose. So yeah, they're basically emboldened to do stuff like that when it comes to men, but not women. You can't do that. Mm-mm. I remember with women, all they did was they had a campaign. It was like the Beach Body Ready campaign. That was years ago, and all it was a woman, a fit woman in a bikini for some kind of protein product or something. I don't even remember what it was about. And women lost their shit over it. And I don't even know like if it got taken down or whatever. But I do remember there was a period in time where all these like soap like was it oil of Olay soaps and stuff were all like featuring like fat women and brown women and women with hairy armpits. And it was just to like say, hey man, all bodies are beautiful. You know, don't come after us because they were scared. So there is definitely like some people you can do that to, and some people you cannot do that to. There's definitely two sets of standards there. So, um, does Barker feel more or less optimistic about men finding love after this research? I'm very excited. My friendship coming out. What? I'm very excited by friendship coming out top of what it means to be a man. Okay, he says. That feels to me like a gain in the world. That and the men saying fatherhood is the most important thing in their life. There's a beating heart of men needing to be connected, caring humans. So I feel panicked, but panic with a deep hope that men actually can and do love. So there's no solutions. There's just like, well, maybe. This is like typical New York Times clickbait bullshit. No answers, no nothing. Theo Vaughn interviewed Ansari in October, by the way. Oh, that's cool. Is he doing okay? Treat yourself. Allison's still not back yet. I don't know what's going on there. So anyway, I've read the article. And I guess what I'll say is, as usual, these people don't offer any solutions. They do studies, and then they infer conclusions like, oh, well, they do apparently want to have friends and be dads. It's like, yeah, like, do you need a study for that? You need to do a study so you can figure that out. So obvious. I mean, how about just let them? How about we encourage and support men forming like friendships and brotherhood with other men and then leave them the fuck alone? How about that? What do you think about? Is that a good idea? Maybe stop getting on their ass. And hey, if they like watch some Andrew Tate videos or some red pill content, stop freaking out and don't worry about it, because the worst thing that'll happen is, well, I don't even think that it's going to become anything bad. Like they find somebody and that person wants to be with them. Like even a lot of men who like get into the whole pickup artist thing, they're not doing it so they can like, you know, run through a bunch of women. Most of them are just trying to find a woman and they're looking to get their foot in the door. All right, Allison's back. I got to connect your thing. Hold on. All right, give me a second. They can't hear you talking, so don't say anything. No, not yet. All right, it should be coming up here in a second. Yeah, there you are. Okay.
Okay.
So you got some explaining to do, I guess.
My laptop blew up at the Badger Cave. I don't know what else to say.
It was heating up. It was heating up.
Yeah.
I noticed it. Well, when I was doing my stream, I was looking at, you know, like in the Video Ninja, I can look at the upload bit rate and a bunch of other like statistics. And I saw that it said the CPU is overheated, and I thought it was my CPU. So I was like trying to like figure out, you know, moving things around. But then when you dropped out, it was fine. So I guess my back room is looking at your computer too. So I guess it was overheated.
That's slightly creepy. But yeah,
a little bit.
How much more did you get done?
I finished the article.
Oh, you finished the article?
Yeah, I did. I just finished it. You want me to give you the summary?
Sure.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, there's no solutions, and they're not blaming anybody. But the guy says at the end, the guy who conducted the study, he's basically like, well, I'm very excited by friendship coming out top of what it means to be a man. So he's excited by the fact that men are like, hey, I want to be a friend. And that feels to me like a gain in the world. That and the men saying fatherhood is the most important thing in their life. There's a beating heart of men needing to be connected, caring humans. So I feel panic, but panic with a deep hope that men actually can and do love. So I feel like men are capable of love, and it's a little bit encouraging.
Yeah, but that wasn't really the question, was it? It was whether or not society, and by society I mean women, can love men. That was the question. Like, where was it in question that men did want love and were capable of love? I think the real sad stat there, which I'm actually surprised it isn't higher, is that 25% of men felt like they couldn't be loved. How did it become about men being loving again? You see what it's like, a reversal of men
Yeah,
have
well,
problems being loved, but I take heart in the fact that men are still capable of love. Well,
yes,
that's
yes.
not the stated problem. That's like, then that's not even addressing the stated problem. Like, that's what was that?
Men want to love despite thinking that they can't be loved, that they are unworthy of love. But they want to, and I'm encouraged by that. Nothing about women though. There's nothing about women there. We can't talk to them. That we might have to hold them to some kind of standard.
Yeah.
Like, because that ultimately, if most men don't feel like women give a shit about them, 'cause that's what comes up more and more, is that they're
Yeah.
only good for what they can provide, what they bring to the table. They're not expected to be cared for. They're not expected to get support. That's what all of the questions are leaning towards, right? Men don't think they have a support network. Men don't think women are capable of loving them, or at least some of them don't. Men don't feel like they can make enough money, that they can check enough boxes, all this stuff, and yet they still want to love them. They still have it in them to be fathers. They still have it in them to want to have friends in their network. And so you see where men are at, it's laid out, and they're still like, gosh, I don't know. What are they doing wrong? Like it's just, what are the men doing wrong? They must be doing. We got to figure out what they're doing wrong. So yeah, whose fault is it? It's men's fault according to the Times. So
But yeah, like this paragraph, does Baker feel more or less optimistic about men finding love after this research? Okay, let's count how many ways he actually addresses the question. I'm very excited about friendship coming on top of what it means to be a man. That is not addressing the question. In fact, it's throwing shade about men in the past. It's saying, oh, they've finally evolved. Oh, look, modern times has made men human. That feels to me like a gain in the world. Why would that be a gain? That and the men saying fatherhood is the most important thing in their lives. So the fact that men now, probably they always thought that being a friend was important, but now they put it out on top, and they put fatherhood out on top as a gain for the world. Why would that be a gain for the world if men can't be friends or fathers no matter how much they want it? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's reframing it. That is blaming men again, right? It's refocusing it on men are the reason why this problem is, right? It's not men have problems, they are the problem.
yes,
So it's good. Like, they're making progress to solving the problem, because now, unlike in all of human history, where the top of the list for men was enslaving, or I don't know, driving their enemies before them and hearing the lamentations of their women. Those 50s fathered,
yeah,
fathers, that was their prime, that was the first thing on their list. The Victorian dads who wrote really eloquent letters about how much they loved their children, the first on their list was driving their enemies before them and hearing the lamentations of their women. That has been the first on men's list since time immemorial. don't listen to all the letters and epitaphs and songs that men have written. It's always been violence and sex that have been the first things on their list that have defined them.
Well, not sex, rape, because
Yeah,
that's how.
very right.
Yeah.
You get the Epic of Gilgamesh, you know, and how it was a long poem about a callow and feckless young man learning to be a proper king. No, that's nonsense. He was always good when he was just aggressive. That's what men have always wanted. But now we have optimism because men have finally become sort of human. You know, they want to be friends, they want to be fathers. They're sort of human now for the first time in human history.
Mm-hmm.
Like and then that to me feels like a gain in the world. That and men say, okay, that's a beating heart of men needing to be connected, caring humans. Okay, so how does that help the problem about men finding love? Okay, how does saying that men want to find love solve the problem of them finding love? So you see that this is blaming men here, right? It's saying the reason why they're not finding love was sometime in the past they didn't want to be friends and fathers, right? There you go. That's one blaming men. And then there was that blaming men that was so baffling. Where was that? It was up ahead.
Should I?
Research goes some way to explaining why men are turning humans into a species of panda. You remember that?
Yes. It was like early on.
Women's standards are too high. The average woman doesn't think that the average man is worthy of her. And then suddenly we pivot from that to research goes some way to explaining why men are turning humans into a species of panda. Like what would it take for this writer to realize it's not men choosing not to have relationships? Men are like, we want to have relationships. Women are like, fuck no, we hate those fuckers. And this research is why. How is it that men are to blame for the lack of relationship formation here? What's going on? That's the second way. Like, or actually, that's the first bizarre way of blaming men for everything. And then in here somewhere is, I'm pretty sure, blaming men for everything because they're far right.
Well, Andrew Tate, the manosphere. Do you want to hear that bit about the manosphere?
Sure.
About the red pill manosphere? Okay.
Lay it on me.
All right. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah. Okay. The same went for questions that were trying to tease out how far men agreed with the so-called red pill ideas about masculinity espoused by manosphere influencers such as Andrew Tate. Roughly half of men endorse some regressive or red pill ideas. Yes, red pill ideas are totally regressive. Do you even know what they are? But in many cases, it was women's support for these views that was the more surprising. What? So yeah, women and men are swimming in the same water about these ideas about manhood, Barker says. Young men will tell us women want a guy who looks a certain way and is a breadwinner. We are very aware that for men in heterosexual relationships, there are huge expectations that can be quite traditional among women. Even as women are telling us we don't want to depend on a man, and it's even unfashionable in some circles to say you have a boyfriend these days. We hear young men talk about how complex and difficult that is.
Yes, because women want them to be providers, but they don't want to be provided for because that feels icky. Good luck, men.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck with that one.
Well, because it's like, do I get what makes me happy, or do I get what will make my girlfriends happy?
You don't understand. Women want to be provided for, but they don't. Well, sorry. Yeah, women want to be provided for, but they don't want to feel like it. Okay? They want to feel independent while men are providing for. Why can't you get this? Why can you not do this? Just have to provide for women, but don't make them feel like they're being provided for. Don't you get it? It's so simple. Why can't men do this? What is wrong with men? Why are you failing, men? Why can't you handle this? Like, why can't you provide for women and then just not make them feel like they're being provided for? God damn.
Yeah. And this is what happens when feminism does not It tells men what they should be doing, but it does not tell women what they should be doing.
Or it doesn't it basically inculcates in women a horrible feeling of being provided for, and yet women feel like if they aren't being provided for, if the man isn't bringing something to the table, they're being taken advantage of. It is an endless cycle of fuck.
Yep.
And for some reason, I think we're the only people who can see it. The people, well, manosphere adjacent human beings like us. It's like, how are men, what role can men occupy? If men don't provide for women, they are not demonstrating that the woman is the table, right? But if they
Yeah.
do provide for women, they're making women feel provided for and not independent, which is also bad. So why can't men do both? Surely it's simple.
Yep.
Good grief. Why do men feel like they can't win? Brian, why do men feel like they can't win?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, because they're not trying to feel it, I guess. I don't know. Good question.
And it's funny because feminists have given women this insecurity about being provided for. They have made
Mhm.
them think that they are being taken advantage of by men when they're provided for. But at the same time, is if men don't provide for them, then they are also being taken advantage of by men. It's like, and this whole article, of course, refuses to acknowledge this, that we have built a $1 trillion industry that just induces neurosis in women.
Mhm.
And you can't question it, because if you question it, you're a misogynist. You're like, well, maybe women shouldn't listen to corporations for their ideas about their lives. I mean, maybe corporations don't, you're a misogynist. You just hate women. You can't question the corporations. They have their best interests in mind. But also, I'm a socialist who hates rich people. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, that was the article. Basically, no solutions or anything like that. So, do you want to
None.
look at incel emojis and then?
Yeah, let's look at incel emojis, and I'll try to make it so that shaky cam isn't quite so shaky.
Okay. All right. Sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I can't read that. Kunli Drukpa, I guess, shared this scene in a school in the UK. So speaking of UK, let me open this in a new tab. Maybe I can zoom in really nice and tight there. We have incel emojis. Do you know what it means? This is on like a board at a school, like a
Mm-hmm.
um incel emojis. Let's go. All right. What do we got here? Mocking women, coffees and coffee. You guys can play along in the chat if you have access to emojis on the live stream. Mocking women, coffee beans or coffee. Sip lol. Um,
How did the coffee meme become mocking women?
I love
Oh,
that. I
oh,
think it's a meme from
Kermit meme. Isn't it?
is it Kermit? No, that was T, but that was that was like the none of my business thing. I saw a video, it's like Team Fortress 2 guys and they're like sipping
Mhm.
coffee, but I don't know if they're the originators of it. So drop
Yeah.
your hottest incel emojis. Yes. This is the important stuff that we got to be dealing with in school, guys.
Yeah.
Forget the reading level plummeting and like, kids like operating at a math level that's like 4 grades lower than it should be, and we're just letting people get college degrees that don't know how to read or write. That's not important. We have to know what the incel emojis are so that we know what to look out for. So,
Yeah.
all right.
All right. So,
Uh
but the beans, they're coffee beans and a coffee.
Yeah, I think that you can use either one. You can either
I
use coffee beans or the coffee cup.
So,
Yeah.
did you guys know that the coffee emoji is now dread misogyny?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that we did. I did. I see it all
Yeah.
the time. Look at Mangaka dropped a bunch of coffee
I'm
cups in
sure
the
that my life will be
Rumble
in
rant
gray.
chat.
I'm sure my
Yeah.
life will be enriched by being triggered by coffee beans. Feel the enrichment. As a woman, I'm feeling the enrichment just radiate into my soul.
Yeah.
Okay, next horrible incel
All
emoji.
right. Radicalized incel. Looks like an explosion and a red and yellow pill and a red firecracker. I don't know what that. I've never heard of that one before,
No,
but I don't travel in
it
those
was
circles. But yeah, I mean, what does that mean? Oh, like he's gonna blow something up?
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
I feel like that one doesn't get used a lot because there isn't that much
it's
radicalizing
rare
of
use.
incels
It's a
going
rare
on. So
Pepe. You remember that?
yeah, that's a rare Pepe. Yeah, that's a rare meme. I'm guessing. I don't
Yeah.
even know like who did the research on this. Who did the research on this? So
Someone's grandma.
all right, if you ever use a 100, this is kind of a large umbrella. If you've ever used the 100 meme, you are actually saying the 80-20 rule. Did you know that? The top 20% of men get 80% of the women. Just anytime you've ever used the 100, and I've used it, I didn't know I was actually signaling to the incel bros. Sorry guys,
What
over
exactly were
misleading
you
y'all.
signaling?
It was I was agreeing with something and I put a 100%. That's what you do. You put a
Yeah, I
keeping it
know, but
100.
what did they? Oh! I see. When we use the 100, we're signaling that 80% of women want 20% of men.
Yes.
What,
That's what
even though that's
100 means.
sort of statistically, that's actually pretty accurate. And they would say that they have a right to want 20% of women or 20% of men. Like, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, that number might even be higher now.
yeah, it might even be higher.
I think it is
It
actually.
doesn't really
Like a lot of women are with the same guy.
Yeah,
They're
it
sharing
doesn't
the same
really
man.
matter if you are qualify it by saying, "Oh, we all want, I don't know, a highly emotionally or spiritually uplifted man." Well, that's still a tiny minority, and I highly
Mhm.
doubt that you are equally spiritually uplifted. I don't think you ladies are out there levitating. Okay. All right.
So 100 is actually an incel meme. That this is an incel emoji. This is gonna be. There's a lot of incels out there. If you've ever used it, you're an incel, basically. If you've ever hit 100. All right, next, an eagle emoji is far right nationalism. What does that have to do with incels? What? And also, this is in the UK. You guys don't have eagles there. You don't have freedom. Why do you have a far right nationalist symbol? I feel like that's a stretch. Nothing
Yeah.
to do with incels, nothing to do with Britain or the UK. It's just an eagle. Like, just I guess eagles are just triggering. I'm gonna start using them. I'm gonna put an eagle emoji in the live chat right now. I didn't know it was in there. So, eagle. Yeah, there it is. There's a bunch of them. All
Oh,
right, send them
God.
through because they'll bounce around in the chat too.
What happens when we signal the incels?
When you signal them, they come running. I think.
Yes, then what happens?
I don't know.
Uh,
They probably ask if you want to play some video
we'll
games or
find out.
something.
Yeah, like we'll find out what happens when we get a critical mass of insults. Let's do the next one.
Yeah. The next one is I don't know what that is.
It's a
It says
black hole.
depression, homeless. Is it a black hole? Is it a
Yeah, it's
hole?
just a black
Oh, it's a
hole.
hole.
Yeah, it's a hole.
Depression, hopelessness. Hmm. Um.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, is I don't think we should be making light of that. I mean, if that's what it means.
Yeah, I don't think
So
we should either. I'm just curious. What happens? Do you call, like, you're in the UK? If your son shows you a meme that indicates he's depressed, do you call the police, send him to jail or something? This boy's an incel. He has depression.
yeah, get him.
Get him.
He's one of them. Uh, yeah. I mean, depression makes you an incel. Yeah, maybe you're just depressed.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
now we see the next one.
all right. The next one
Oh,
is alt-right meme symbol, and it's a frog. Top keck. He's
Yep.
back, guys.
He's
It's
back.
Pepe. He never left us. He never left us. He just laid low for a while.
Yep.
Alt-right means simple. So we have far-right nationalism, which is an eagle, and then we have the Pepe, or a frog. Good lord, guys. This is like fretting over nothing, really.
Yep. Well, I mean, the depression one, you could be fretting over the mental health problems of your son, but I'm guessing in the UK they're just going to get him arrested. My son seems to be listless and doesn't want anything to do with anything. Arrest him. He's an incel. I can't do a British accent.
I can't either. I thought about it and I changed my mind.
Yeah, I don't even bother. Okay, next one.
All right. So next one is a tornado, and it says chaos, overwhelm, mental illness. Oh, mental distress, actually, mental distress. So again, if you are worried about your mental health, or you're going through a hard time, and you post a tornado as an emoji, I guess you're an incel now. And also, like again, this stuff with depression and hopelessness and mental distress, it sounds like something that is a cry for help, and maybe you should be like, I don't know, supporting those people as opposed to trying to figure out a way to single them out by like the way that they post on their phones or text to their friends or in Discord or whatever it is.
Brian, when adults see these symbols, they should immediately call the police on their children. And then if a kid at the school sees these symbols, they should immediately start bullying them. Because that's how we're going to improve boys' mental health.
Right. Yes, we should be bullying them harder.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense.
All right. Next emoji is, it's 3. I guess it's like a finger pointing and then a like a sad face or like a face and then another finger pointing, and it says simps begging women. So yeah, simps. I mean, again, acknowledging the existence of simps, not unique to incels, actually. And it's, it's funny, like I think that if you're trying to like prevent a guy from simping, you're doing him a favor. Like you're preventing him from putting himself in a vulnerable position over someone who might hurt his feelings or hurt him in some way, and you're trying to protect him. And yeah, I mean, maybe it comes across as like, harsh or whatever, but I think that it's necessary and it does come from a good place. But it's like these people want simps to exist. So they basically just protect simps by calling out people who call them out for simping. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I gotcha.
I don't know. So yeah, here's one that you may not have known. Simps begging women. Point. I don't know what that face is, like how it's described.
Isn't another way of saying a simp a sex pest? Aren't men supposed to? No, but seriously, hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. Okay, you remember that Budweiser commercial where the guy was going to hit on the woman in the street, and the other guy
was
like,
the Gillette commercial, and he's like,
Gillette,
"No, not cool,
Gillette.
bro, not cool."
Not cool. Not
Gillette,
cool.
yeah.
This emoji. They're just saying don't interfere with her girl bossing.
Yeah, that's another way. Like if you think of in that framework, yeah. I mean, I think ultimately the simps can be bad for a couple reasons. One, they put themselves in some kind of danger, because maybe they overinvest in someone who doesn't have an interest in investing in them, but doesn't have a problem exploiting them. But also, they also run the risk of inflating that girl's ego to the point where she becomes insufferable because she thinks that she's worth more than she actually is. It gives her like an artificial sense of her own sexual market value because there's all these like dudes that are simping for her. And this is the thing with girls online. Like they'll share, selfies. Let's say you're a young girl, you're like a teenager, and you're you're hitting puberty, you feel good, you feel like you're cute, you post pictures online, and you get like thousands of dudes in your comments, thousands, right? They're all like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And they're from all over the world too. You don't know where you're getting them from. It could be dudes from like the Middle East or India or whatever. And then like you love this. Like you eat it up. You think, oh, this means I'm hot or whatever. And then you post more pictures, you get more reactions. You take it a little bit further, maybe show some more skin, whatever, wear tighter clothes. You start wearing outfits specifically for posting online. And then after a while, when you used to get like 10,000 likes, you get like 1,000 likes. And it's
Mhm.
still a lot by normal standards, but that girl feels like something is wrong, like they're losing something. And
Mhm.
that so like the high that they got initially is disappearing and they start getting fewer and it's not even like they're hitting the wall or anything like that. It's just that, maybe their people have moved on to something else or whatever, or or she's putting a little bit less effort in or whatever it is, doesn't matter. And I think that the the simping early on sort of puts them in a state where they expect, that the amount of attention they were getting as the normal. So the problem with this is that it's harder for them to build a real relationship with real people because they were so like say experiencing this like overblown parasocial relationship with online strangers. So I think that that's another aspect of like the way simping hurts girls as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and then they'll go on to hurt other men. Like a lot of the women who hate men the most online are women who stopped getting as much attention from them when they were younger online. So they start to resent men for abandoning them or whatever. So,
Mm. Okay, let's do the next one.
all right, next one. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was
All
just
right, pills. We have the pills. So the red pill, misogynistic truth. So the person who made this is obviously like looking at this from their perspective. So describing the red pill as misogynistic, and they put truth in quotations. So the blue pill, blind to dating truth. I'm sorry, Allison, were you going to say something
well, I
about the
mean,
misogynistic truth?
misogynistic truth. What do they mean by that? That women are actually also to blame for stuff? Like it's not always just men? Or things like, oh, women are capable of sexual violence. Is that another misogynist truth? And in
Yes.
fact, the studies that we're seeing coming out now suggest that women are doing their fair share of raping out there, right? Is that a misogynistic truth? So what misogynistic truth is truth? Like, okay,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right.
Misogynistic truth is just truth. Exactly. Blue pill, blind to dating truth. Black pill, unattractive men are doomed. Pink pill, unattractive women. I never heard of that one. So it's like a pill with a heart next to it, a pink heart. So I don't know, I've never heard of that one. Unattractive women.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of emojis for drugs. Again, I don't think this is an incel thing. I think this is a drug addict thing. I think people are posting this stuff like they're probably just stoners or something.
Yeah, that's a little confusing there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why the drugs are even there qualifying. So, yeah, I guess ketamine is like a horse. There's a couple of horse ones, and there's like a pill for that. Then there's cocaine, which is like a snowflake, coconut, a guy.
Sudden crossover with the stoners.
Yeah, some reason stoners are also
We just yeah, somehow
incels.
yeah. And so
Snowman, 8 ball. Yeah,
why would they
weird. Go ahead.
who compiled this list?
Yeah, and like this is in a school. Like, man, this is crazy. This
Yeah,
is
it
in a
is.
school. I want to see oh, and there's also incel slang apparently. I guess we can look at that really quick too. Um Seeing words that you've coined is strange. Becky created those posters. I'm just looking at the chat.
Yeah.
The comments under the Yeah, I don't know. Like drugs, I don't see how that's an incel thing at all. So that's
Makes
just like
sense.
for drug dealers, this is like drug dealing language. It's not, you know what I mean? Like you can send it to your dealer, like I want to get high. You should send him an alien and an 8 ball, and he'll bring you some cocaine, I guess. Or one of these drug deal things, like a cookie,
Question
like a
before
dollar bag. What?
question before the court is, why are there now drug emojis on our list of incel? Is this
Yeah,
just
it's
generalized parental anxiety over the behavior of children that they don't spend any time with?
yeah, a product of um single moms and broken families where the child or even families where both parents are working and they don't have time for their kids, and they give them a phone and they let them go to school, and like I mean there's no oversight, there's no authority, so like things like this are going to happen. I don't
Mhm.
know. I mean it's bad, but anyway,
Yeah,
um
next one.
hearts. Well, do you want me to do all the drugs, or because I don't think I can add much to that. So hearts, a normal heart is love. An orange heart is you're going to be fine. So it's like coping. Again, I don't know what these have to do with incels. I don't think the hearts are relevant to that. A purple one is horny. This should be a baseball bat. Bonk.
Mm,
A pink one, I guess. I'm interested, but not in sex. A blue one, something is cute or friendship. A green one, jealousy or envy. A yellow one, I'm interested. Are you? A white one, cold love, emptiness, or fake purity. A black one, alternative for red in love. And a gray one, numbness, no love. Okay. I don't know what the like. How, I don't think most of these are not incel emojis though.
mhm.
It's weird.
Yeah, that was weird. It just seems like generic parental anxiety emojis.
It's teacher, like maybe a teacher and a student made this together and neither of them really know what this is. Like a
Yeah.
student, you know, there's actually a few things here. So here's another, so yeah, it's all over now. Here's a whole sheet of incel slang. Do you know what it means? Again, I bet a lot of this stuff isn't even specific to incels. It's probably just Zoomer talk, like
Mhm.
you know, or alpha talk, whatever the current gen is.
Mhm. Go
But
ahead. State it.
yeah, halo effect, bias where attractive people are seen as better or more innocent. That's true. It's unfortunate, but it is. We tend to be more charitable to better looking people. Becky, average looking woman with lower status than a Stacy. Stacy, attractive, high status woman who dates Chads, often resented by incels. Chad, attractive, dominant man idealized for looks. Catfishing, pretending to be someone else online. Alpha, a confident, dominant man seen as a leader socially or with women. AWOLT, all women are like that. Hey, remember when we used to talk about NAWALT like a long time ago? That shit's gone mainstream.
Mm, no,
Um,
I like that. Yeah.
Pink pill, believes some women are hopelessly unattractive and unlovable. Wow. Is that like men saying this stuff or
And also, if it's if women are saying that they're hopelessly unattractive and unlovable, does that make them incels and like terrorist adjacent?
hmm,
Yeah,
interesting thought.
indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, halo effect is a psychological term. Somebody in the chat asked if it was, but no, it's incel slang now. That means that the psychologists they have to stop using it because they're just participating in manosphere drivel, and
Mm,
they hate women. By the way,
indeed.
um, bone smash theory: hitting the face to reshape bones for looks. I hope you guys aren't doing that.
You mean plastic surgery?
No, it says hitting the face to reshape bones for looks. So actually smashing your face to reshape it.
That sounds like a TikTok challenge. It's terrifying. Okay,
Gosh.
let's. Oh,
All
good.
right.
Okay.
Wage cuck, man who works in a society seen as anti-male. So basically men who work.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you can say a lot of things about this society, but you can't deny that it's anti-male.
Mm-hmm.
I like, honestly,
Yeah.
people in this society think that men oppress women. That's anti-male. And they don't got no alibi for it. All right, let's next
Land
one.
whale, incel term for an overweight woman. No, land whale has been around for a long time. Like, it
Yes.
was just what we call fat people. Not even women specifically, just fat people. We call them land whales. What are you talking about? They're trying to reappropriate this and give this to incels. They didn't make that up, guys. The wall, point age 25, when a woman's value starts to decline per incels. No, it's real. It may not be at age 25, but
Yeah.
I'm chuckling a little bit at this wall thing because um I don't know, I just think it is kind of funny that it's out there. So it is undefeated. There's no winning.
Okay.
Game, POA tactics to manipulate women into sex. Manlet, a short or small framed man. Short king. I like short king.
Mm.
Rage fuel, acts, events, or information that make incels angry.
But
I don't see how that's incel stuff.
that's not incels.
No, that's anybody. It looks like they're trying to like control internet slang and then just say it's all incel slang.
Yeah,
A lot
because
of
incel is the big scary word now.
yeah, incel's the big scary boogeyman word. That and Andrew Tate, which
Yep.
apparently they're the same thing, even though they're literally opposites.
Mm-hmm.
So, Omega, socially lowest ranking man, no chance with women. Was it Beta didn't make the list? Why didn't Beta make the list?
Beta.
NPC, conformist thinker, blindly follows mainstream beliefs. Okay. Oh yeah, sure. That again, that's internet stuff though. That's not incel stuff. Femcells, female incel, often rejected by the incel community. Also like a unicorn. And Manosphere, online community for men with anti-feminist and misogynistic views. Notice they have to put that in there. They have to say anti-feminist, and then they're like, wait a minute, maybe that's not saying enough. Like, obviously, if you're anti-feminist, you hate women. But let's drive it home by also saying misogynistic. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Because that's what the manosphere is. Yeah, sure.
So is feminism a scientific observation about reality, in which case you should be questioning it? Or is it an absolutist belief that cannot be questioned, and if you do, you're an unbeliever and thrown out of society? Because it can't be both, guys. It can't be both.
No.
All right. This will
All right.
clown cell. Oh god.
Yeah, there's different incel types.
Oh,
There's clown cells, Joker cell, irony. Fake cells, pretends to be incel. Yeah, because that's the one I want to fit in with the incel crowd, so I'm going to be a fake cell. That's what I want. That's what I aspire to be. Femcell, claimed female incel. Acne cell, incel due to acne. So there's like specific sub incel groups. Old cell, incel due to age. Wizard cell, virgin past age 30. Wizard cell, pondering the orb. Bald cell, incel due to baldness. Gym cell, exercises to cope. Height cell, incel from height. Mentacell, incel mentally ill. True cell, zero opposite sex contact. Poor cell, incel due to poor finance. But like all of these things, a lot of them, they sound like legitimate obstacles that women are like less like they're going to consider it a deal breaker.
yeah,
Like
100%.
baldness, height, mental illness, being poor, being too old, having bad acne. There's plenty of women that would like say that that's
A deal
that's
breaker.
not, yeah, it's a deal breaker for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently we can't accept that women have any standards at all for relationships. We can't even listen to women when they say that they do.
Yes.
It's all incel talk. You see, guys, you've invented a world in which the average woman considers the average man beneath her. You've invented this, and because you've invented it, you've lived in it. But we don't actually live in that world. We don't. It's just an invention of men. You're not actually observing the truth, guys. You're not actually observing that women's standards are higher than the average man. So the average woman considers herself far above the average man. That's not the case. You just decided to pretend that women had standards like this, and thus you constructed the world in which they had those standards, but they don't have those standards. You are just preemptively selecting yourself against approaching women who don't have the standards that you think they have, that you've ascribed to them. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yep.
Like, why would men choose a world in which the average woman finds them unattractive? Why would men have chosen this? Just explain that to me. And because men have chosen this, apparently that's made it so. Okay. But I think it's just another reducing our desire to blame men for everything down to its most absurd quantity. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This has
I
been
mean,
an
yeah, that's
exhausting.
it.
Yeah, this has been an
Yeah, I'm sorry that you had to like walk all the way home. But I mean, gotta do something on your computer, I guess. Are you on like another laptop right now, or?
Yeah, I'm on another laptop with the shaky cam. Look, see?
Mm, I see.
It's not very
Yeah.
well secured. But yeah, I am on a different laptop. I had to walk home in the snow and the cold, and I don't know what my computer is doing. It just it looks like it might be bricked. I uninstalled Elgato Cam because it was useless, and apparently it was claiming some extensions, and I was like, yeah, just get rid of it. And then my computer bricked. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, Brian. It just
No, it's
decided.
all right. It happens. The special chat's going crazy right now.
Yeah, really? Well,
Oh
what do you guys
yeah. Just unhinged, unhinged comments saying that we should like enter the room together. We're like literally on different parts of the world.
Yeah, he's in Virginia and I'm in the middle of Canada.
So yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not going to happen. We do occasionally walk into the same room like once a year. And then we do a show from a place in Calgary, which we'll be trying to do it next year again. So there you go. You got to stick around for our once yearly appearance in public.
Mm-hmm.
And then oh yeah, he's just being obnoxious.
Are you
Okay.
looking?
Yeah, I'm
No,
looking.
we're not married to each other, where we have our respective partners, spouses.
Yeah, I got
We just
my
work together. We're not married to each other.
yeah. Like what the heck? I think my
Just
husband's taking
assume too much. You see a man and a woman in the same space and you're like, "Oh, they must be together." That's a
No.
you problem. That's not an us problem.
I think my husband is in the other room taking a nap,
Yeah,
possibly.
Lindsay's in the other room with JoJo. I think she's eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's my doggo having a snooze. Can you see him?
Yeah, I see him.
Yep. Just having a snooze. And yeah, I actually had to go home to continue this freaking what is this? Interminable podcast. Yeah, it's just yep.
All right, well, that's it. That's it for me. I have done my duty.
Yep, I've done my duty as well. All right, so feedthebadger.com/just the tip if you want to support us or send us a comment. You can also give us a tip that way, so it is support. But feedthebadger.com/support for that. No, just the tip for that. Feedthebadger.com/support for that for helping us out. I will put keep /Allison-sane under support
for you guys. So it's all goes to the same place. I believe I have changed the little pop-up. Anyway, go to Feed the Badger. You'll figure it out. And I'll hand it back to you, Brian.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, and let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today. You'll find links to the stuff we looked at in the description. And please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame, even though I didn't call it that at the beginning because we stopped doing that. And we'll talk to you guys in the next one. See you tomorrow.
Men's right activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.